Alicia Martin, thanks for joining us again on the Illinois Channel. And recently, the Illinois Channel interviewed a contractor who was working on refineries, and he was telling us a story about how there's a proposal to change the law that basically would mean that he either no longer can work at the refineries or that the whole wage scale that he's paying would be thrown out. Give us some background, if you might, on the issue that's impacting your industry.
Yeah, the bill is Senate Bill 1407, and there are two components of the bill that we find troubling. And one is that it will require that contractors on private construction work pay prevailing wages. Those are government-dictated wages. And the other problem that we have with it is the impact that it could potentially have on a workforce development program that we established a few years ago called Community Builders.
And when you say it would impact the payment, the prevailing wage, what is prevailing wage for those who don't know?
Prevailing wage is a wage set by the Illinois Department of Labor that is required to be paid on public works projects in Illinois.
What we're talking about in this instance is not public works, it's private works, and that's really the key, I think, to your objection, or one of the primary keys, is it not, to your objection?
That is one of the primary keys to our objection, yes.
Actually, what is wrong with paying the prevailing wage?
Well, there's nothing wrong with paying prevailing wage per se. I think what's wrong with the bill is the overreach of government to dictate wages on private construction work. Dictating a wage between two organizations that are private entities, and it's setting a bad example for down the road, because where will it end? Where will that egregious overreach end?
And as I understand, your industry has already, first of all, that they have as many industries, a shortfall in people working in the industry because so many baby boomers are retiring. And I've talked to any number of industries where this is happening. What I understand is, though, that your industry now has begun relatively recently, in the past few years, a training program to get more people in. So tell us the background a little bit about the background of that training program, and to what extent, if any, would this legislation impact that?
Right. We call the program Community Builders Program. It's a workforce development program designed to help individuals with barriers to employment enter the construction industry. We know that over the next 10 years, there's going to be a shortage of over 130,000 skilled craftsmen. So this program, we reach into communities where there are underserved individuals and populations of folks that are experiencing barriers to employment. We bring our training program to them, and in a 12-week boot camp style program, they come out with 3 industry recognized credentials and are ready to go on a job site as an entry-level worker. And the way that Senate Bill 1407 could negatively impact this program is we have members that hire from these pool of candidates, and they go to work in entry-level positions in these refineries with the opportunity to have a wage progression scale over the course of however long they stay with that company in the industry. So a program like this, if our members are required to hire these individuals and pay prevailing wage, it will eliminate those entry-level positions and will be just one more barrier for these individuals to enter into the construction industry.
And why would it eliminate those entry-level positions?
Well, if they have to pay prevailing wages, that prevailing wage rate is so high that you could not afford to hire an entry-level worker at that hourly rate and be productive enough to justify that type of wage.
When one works in your industry, and has been, if they have some experience and not an entry level, what kind of ballpark figures are we talking about as far as the salaries? Are these decent paying jobs?
Yes, decent paying jobs, and it varies from craft to craft, but I would say an estimate of a journey worker in Illinois for various crafts would be anywhere from $30 to $35 an hour.
At this point, is there any talk of a resolution to this? Do you imagine it's going to be put off for further discussions, or is there some compromise that might be reached?
I'm hoping for a compromise. As of right now, negotiations are still ongoing.
And you and I both know that as we get down to the final 2 weeks of the legislative session, things move quickly, and anything can happen. But we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you so much.